Hi, I'm Paco Nathan from O'Reilly Media. We're here at AI New York 2018, and it's my pleasure to get to talk with Jennifer Marsman here. Really enjoyed your keynote this morning.
Thank you.
Jennifer is Principal Software Development Engineer at Microsoft. And I wanted to ask you about, in particular, you were talking this morning about AI for Earth program. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So last December, Brad Smith, who is the president of Microsoft, made an announcement at a conference in Paris that Microsoft publicly committed to $50 million over the next 5 years in grant money and cloud resources for support for projects in the areas of artificial intelligence and machine learning in the areas of agriculture, water, climate change, and biodiversity. So those 4 key areas, and using machine learning to kind of solve some of our global challenges. And there's kind of a number of things we want to do in that arena. So first of all is access, right? Just giving people access, because I think there's a lot of brilliant environmental scientists and such out there, but if they don't have access to a cloud to be able to compute, massive amounts of data, they can't necessarily do, the amazing work with the domain knowledge that they have. And so part of it is just, this grant money is intended to give them access and get them started and give them a way to be able to use the cloud to do some really neat predictive analytics and the like. And then secondly, education. Right. So again, a lot of very brilliant people, and if the bottleneck is that they just don't have a machine learning background, or maybe have a machine learning background but don't know how to do it on Azure specifically, on our cloud, then we want to provide educational resources to get them up and running so that they can do their amazing work of saving the world more easily. And then finally, innovation. So looking at, what are the next amazing, things that we can kind of raise up. So we have a couple of lighthouse projects of people who are doing particularly great work that we kind of want to raise up and then make available to a wider group of people. So a couple of things there. One such project is the Farm Beats project that I was talking about this morning at the keynote. So it's really exciting work using AI, machine learning, and drones, and IoT, and cutting-edge networking research all together to try to work on the problem of world hunger and being able to grow and increase yield of farmers' crops. So it's really, really exciting work, and I'm really excited because I think we're at this intersection right now of AI and machine learning is exploding, and then we have just a lot of global challenges as well. So being able to use those together is really exciting.
Fantastic. Have you had a chance to work on the farms at all with some of the drones and some of this kind of equipment?
Yeah, so I've played with some of the drones for sure. I've done some of the drone stuff, and there's a whole lot of stuff that I didn't go into in the keynote that's really neat around what they've done with the drones. There's a lot of, so one of the big challenges with drones too, besides regulations and cost, is the battery life. Like even the best drone, it's going to run for 35 minutes or something, and then you're out. And if you're talking of thousands of acres farms, that's really hard to cover. And so we actually implemented an algorithm where the farmer just has to take out a mobile app, and then they can select the area and if they want the drone to sweep, or they can select a path for it to follow. And essentially, if it's sweeping an area, it'll actually use the wind to optimize its path, because drones actually, the battery life actually gets consumed more when it has to slow down and stop, or change direction, like those kind of things. Just when it's got momentum, that uses less battery. And so it actually uses the wind, like if you have a drone that's kind of, excuse my interpretive dance here, but if you have a drone that's kind of like this, and it kind of can lean this way when the wind is going that way, and use the wind to be able to propel it, and then turn the other way to utilize that drag to slow itself down so that it's using up less battery as well. So we kind of built in some algorithms into the drone flying as well to try to optimize for battery life.
Oh, fantastic. Well, it sounds like engineers from Microsoft then are also helping to ideate or suggest ways to use technology. Yes,
so Ranveer Chandra is the principal researcher on the Farm Beats project, and he's the one who's really owning that and driving it and doing some amazing work in that space. And then there's another project, Project Premonition, and another great Microsoft researcher, Ethan Jackson, is leading that work. And that's another really, really cool story where the problem that Project Premonition is trying to solve is the issue of trying to predict outbreaks of disease before they happen. And so right now, the way that works is, people get sick and they go to the doctors. And when you go to the doctors, your doctor reports it to, the Center for Disease Control or the World Health Organization, or there's these organizations that kind of summarize and aggregate that data.
Yeah.
And then you can say, okay, an outbreak has happened. We've seen a large number of people in this area that are all coming in with the same disease. But that takes 2 weeks to a month after
latency.
the people have gotten to it that it actually is known that there's an outbreak.
Basically, yes, we have an epidemic.
Exactly, after it's happened and all that stuff. So Project Premonition is trying to predict that before it happens. And the way he's doing it is so cool. So mosquitoes are the key. So basically mosquitoes fly around and they collect blood from various things, from animals as well as humans, right? And so there's some amazing machine learning where you can take, we set up these traps, these lures, and it's got this little cylinder, and it's got 64 individual little slots in it. And bugs can fly in and out of the slots, and there's these little gates here. And we actually have a classifier built on the gate so that when it recognizes that it's a mosquito in there, boop, the trap will close.
Okay.
But only when it's a mosquito. So it recognizes the wing beat pattern of a mosquito as opposed to a fly or a bee or any other bug that could be in there. So then we have these mosquitoes, and then we can use a genomics pipeline to reverse engineer the blood that's inside the mosquito to figure out what animal it came from and what diseases that animal had. So you can use that information to track, okay, a lot of cows in this area have, this disease and those kind of things, and it seems to be spreading through this population. And the same thing with humans as well, to kind of catch those things a little earlier and be able to take action against it. So really exciting work.
Well, that sounds like a really good application for, say, edge computing. I mean, I can imagine some of the AI can be moved out into the hardware right there.
Most definitely. In both the premonition scenario, where there are these, traps some of them are in the jungle, and Ethan's been all over the place, setting these things. We also have done some in Houston, Texas, around the time of the Zika there. Yeah. There's been a lot of work to, plant these and then have them out in the field where they're doing this research. And same thing with the farms scenario that I talked about this morning, where you're on the farm. And so it is a huge thing for edge computing, being able to, get that information and be able to compute the results right there and make a decision whether or not to close the trap or that sort of thing right on the edge. So it's very exciting stuff.
Well, I'm curious. I mean, out of all these kinds of examples, and it's quite a range, but what are you learning about how AI can be applied?
Well, there's so many different things, and I think the exciting thing is that we've only gotten started. So the announcement that Brad made was in December. So we're still so relatively young as a program that we did some hiring after that. So it's only been a matter of months, and we already have grantees in over 100 grantees in over 20 countries.
Oh, outstanding.
So there's definitely a need for this sort of thing, more of a need than I thought there was, honestly, than I would have anticipated. So it's exciting to see that there are so many people working on such cool things, and then some of the things they're building and how we can take that forward. Really, where this got started was the idea of that we're in an age where machine learning has exploded. I mean, I got my degree in artificial intelligence 15 years ago, and we have, the field has changed so much in 15 years that I'm always, it's kind of like, I'm not sure how much that degree was really worth. But it is. We're in such an exciting time for machine learning. The things that we've solved in the last 5 years, like machine translation, speech recognition, all that stuff just solved. And 15 years ago when I got my degree, that was artificial intelligence, right? That wasn't a thing
maybe
yet.
Someday.
Exactly. And we've done it. And the advent of deep learning and just, compute is so cheap, or compute is so much faster and storage is so much cheaper, that we really are in a golden age for AI right now. And then couple that with the environmental challenges that our planet is facing right now. The concerns over fresh water, the concerns over climate change, the concerns over the fact that the way species are going extinct exponentially, like way beyond the rate that they should be. So how can we apply all of this amazing stuff with deep learning to these big challenges of our planet? And it's exciting to see what some of our, what some of these grantees are doing, and then how we can help enable that.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned, this is going on in so many different parts of the world. Is there any kind of distribution? I mean, is it focused in certain areas? Africa, I think you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. So we do have some work in Africa. You can actually go to our website, and we have a whole map of all of our grantees right on the website. Great. Yeah. So you can look, and so as it updates and as new grantees come on, you're welcome to go check the website and see where all the different things are. So there's certainly a lot in North America. We actually don't have as many in Australia as I would like, but there's a pretty good amount in Europe and Asia, and then Africa and India. So it is fairly, there is a nice distribution all over the place, but more people are always welcome.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Well, on that note too, I mean, for our audience, there's a lot of practitioners more in this audience.
Yes.
So what are next steps? How do people get involved?
Yes. Well, apply if you're doing any kind of sustainability work. So if they're doing anything in climate change, water, agriculture, or biodiversity, they're welcome to apply for a grant and take advantage of some of that, pot of money to help, keep them motivated and keep them moving. And then we also have a GeoAI data science virtual machine. So that's something else that people can definitely take advantage of. It is the standard, Microsoft Data Science Virtual Machine, which is a really nice virtual machine that comes with all of the deep learning frameworks and stuff already installed. So you don't have to worry about setup and dependencies and all that stuff. You can just be up and running in a matter of minutes. And so we have that Data Science Virtual Machine, and then we've added to it a couple of geo-specific things. So specifically ARC GIS Pro from Esri is installed on there, pre-installed in there, so you can do that, as well as several a land cover mapping tutorial to see some of how you can make a prediction of, given some satellite imagery, tell me whether this is water, is it trees, is it fields, what kind of land is this, urban development or something that's not plantable. So you can use that for a lot of interesting scenarios as well, tracking deforestation and various urban planning and stuff like that. So a lot of very exciting things to do. So you can download that today or check that out today and then apply for a grant if people are interested.
Wonderful. Well, I encourage everybody to do that. I'm looking forward to doing that.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Paco.